Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Roundball Report, the only show in the area highlighting the exploits of high school, college, and professional basketball teams right here in the DMV area. And today I'm joined by two very special guests. Welcome, Wilson and Jarrell. Welcome to the show, first time here at the show, and let's get into it. Today, a very special announcement happened with Tim Duncan retiring. What did you guys first think when you heard that this NBA great, 19 years on the basketball court, retiring and hanging it all up today?
You want to start first?
Sure, I'll go. Just thinking that blessing my lifetime to be being able to live through so many great careers. We had Kobe,
Right.
Hang it up. We get Timmy hanging it up, and we've been talking about, like 6 years into Timmy's career, one of the greatest power forwards ever, and it's been a great career.
And you mentioned Kobe. I mean, Kobe today released a statement basically saying how he did feel that Tim Duncan was cutthroat. And of course, he has been criticized for maybe not being so emotional during games.
Right.
And what did you think of that? I mean, having Kobe say that, what do you think that speaks to for Tim Duncan's legacy?
I mean, Kobe recognizes greatness. Like, you can say whatever you want about Kobe, but at the end of the day, Kobe has always honored great basketball players, and Tim is definitely one of the greatest. To me, he's the greatest power forward ever. I know some people could say Barkley, KG. I always have Tim number one. He's the big fundamental. I mean, you look at he's been, every year he's been in the league, he's made the playoffs. And other than the strike-shortened seasons, he's won 50 games. Like, all he knows is winning. That's
Right.
crazy.
Right. He is a winner. I mean, 19 consecutive playoffs. That speaks to something. And then let's talk about his accolades. So he joins Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 26,000 points, 15,000 rebounds, 4,000 assists. I mean, what does that speak to just of his greatness, Wilson?
Just about how versatile he was, and he really lived up to every part of that nickname, the big fundamental. There wasn't anything he couldn't do on a basketball court, save, hit three-pointers.
Right.
That's something the clip people do now, but he was legitimately just very sound in everything that you wanted out of a big man. And then what you guys saw about a prototypical winner.
And let's talk about his relationship with Greg. I mean, a lot of people say, he's kind of hard to get along with, but as we saw, Tim and Greg had one of the tightest relationships that we have seen in NBA basketball. So, I mean, what do you think enabled that relationship just to be so positive and strong?
I think in the beginning when he got drafted, I was watching a special earlier, they just kind of hit it off early. Greg knew that Tim was a different type of player than he was used to, and then it was coming off David Robinson's injury season, and they practiced together. It was like, this is his team now. After the second practice, before he ever played an NBA game, said, it's Tim's team now. And David fell along with it, and they won 2 championships together because of it.
All right, so 19 years. Let's talk about our favorite moments that we had with Tim Duncan. I think for me, it was when he hit the three-point shot in overtime, 2008 NBA playoffs against Phoenix. What about your guys' favorite?
That.
I love that. One of my favorite memories. So tell me both your guys' favorite memories of Tim Duncan playing over the years.
My favorite Tim Duncan memory, I want to say his just dominance against the Nets in 03. Like, Tim Duncan's will, that series, it was incredible just seeing how we did any and everything to make sure the Spurs will win. That's probably one of my favorite memories.
Okay.
I would say the first championship with David Robinson, where you have an all-time great on his team, and you were talking about handing the reins over to a young guy.
Yeah, he handed
saying
over.
that it's his team, and to live up to that standard, we put a lot of hype on players and media, and Timmy met it with no hesitation, and surpassed a lot of people's goals even early on.
And during the Tim Duncan era, we saw the San Antonio Spurs win 71% of their games. I mean, that's incredible in itself, right? So let's speak about, what did he mean for the city of San Antonio and the Spurs organization?
I mean, he set standards. I think a lot of people come to taking the Spurs for granted for so long, and the only reason we're able to do so, a large part into Timmy, to Greg, Manu, but Timmy.
I would say at the end of the day, I feel as though, to me, I always compare them, when I debate with my friends, they like the Honey Nut Cheerios of the NBA. They're not the best cereal in terms of taste, but they always got it done, and you could love it or hate it, but they were always around. People are like, I hate the Spurs, they're boring, but they're winning.
Right,
So at the end of the day, they're winning. You can't deny a winner. And
right.
That's what he was.
Exactly. And let's talk about, too, he's gotten a little criticism for maybe not being as vocal. And some people criticize him for not being this entertainer type of basketball player that we now see. And what would you guys say to criticizers of Tim Duncan for that?
You run in the locker room. I think it's hard in pro sports because a lot trying to label people as leaders, even though they're not. Obviously, Tim was a leader. All leaders don't have to talk. People, no matter who's been in San Antonio, people falling in line without any issue. You haven't had any of those free agent acquisitions where people come in, make a big stink, and get kicked out of San Antonio. They have a standard. You fit in.
What about you?
look at how he retired. Kobe had the farewell tour, and what did Tim do? He just released a statement.
Right.
And that's
it
it.
surprised everybody.
That's it. It's just like, I came, I saw, I conquered. Till next time. That's Tim. He leads by action, and everyone respects him. No one criticizes him on his team. The fans may criticize, but his team, they love him.
Right. And let's speak about another first. We had Kevin Durant surprising everyone earlier this month with the announcement of going to the Golden State Warriors team. So let's first start off with, what were your guys' initial reactions when you guys saw this move happening?
Okay, let me go first. So me and Wilson had debated this early in February. He told me, K's going to the Warriors. And I told him that's not happening. And I even bet him. I said, I'm going to buy him a shirt that said he's the best, because there's no way that's happening. So when it happened, I was like, I really owe this man a shirt.
Yes, you do.
I owe him a shirt. He was telling me what size, what colors he wanted. And I was just sitting there like, man, KD's a Warrior. Like, the league is forever changed. They just single-handedly won the West in a move.
All right, and what about your thoughts when you first saw it? I mean, Wilson, what were you thinking when you
I would love to tell you that I was really, really shocked. No, I just expected it. If you're going to make a move, any other move that people wanted, I know fans, we love crazy things, but any other move would have been lateral or going backwards. The only move to make a step forward was Golden State. And, you've been there for 9 years in OKC. We ask these players to focus. You tell them you're nothing without winning a ring. All the numbers are irrelevant to a point. The only place you can go to really better his chances of pursuing a ring is Golden State.
All right, so are you guys both calling the Warriors as the winners next year of the NBA championship?
As long as they stay healthy, I don't see why not.
Okay.
Barring injury, yes.
Very cool. And I mean, for Steph Curry, what does this do to elevate the Warriors team? How do you see him fitting in the system, Kevin Durant, and the Warriors system with Steph Curry?
I think it'll be seamless. This is the same team that, despite what Cleveland was doing when they were, just really aggressively trapping Steph to get the ball out of his hands, the same thing with Clay, they kept trying to make the right basketball play, which was giving the ball to Harrison Barnes. And I'm not going to go into that down that well, but the right basketball play was to move the ball to the open person. And what Golden State did was, if we're going to be forced to do that, we're going to make you pay for it. So now if you force it out of our hands, you're really going to, you want Kevin Durant to beat you?
Right. Because at the end of the day, Steph doesn't have to take all the grunt of being the superstar. It's like, okay, there's me, there's Clay. Oh, by the way, there's Kevin Durant, another 50, 40, 90 guy, another MVP type player. So who do you want to beat? Just like, pick your poison. I can win one day, he can win the next day, he can win the next day. Can't be stopped.
Wow. All right, and staying on the subject of free agency, big surprise here in Washington, D.C. When Bradley Beal was retained. I know for some, they did not think that he was worth the money. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on why you guys think the Wizards chose to retain Bradley Beal, and what will he do for the Wizards organization?
I think because of the way that the drafts has panned out since Brad's been here, they haven't really had a replacement. They had the chance to get Jordan Clarkson, trade him to the Lakers for cash considerations. Had Clarkson been here, maybe you're not so quick to give that money to Bradley. And that's not even getting into who's a better player, but because of the injury. The only reason we're kind of up and down about Brad is he's here, he's not here. You're playing 60 games. You're in like the Anthony Davis, Eric Gordon, number of games played a year. And with the money, it's just the market. And I think a lot of people, it's still hard for us to get our head around these numbers. And, next year the numbers will go up, but they had to keep Brad from a business perspective. They had to keep him.
Yeah, from a business perspective, we had no other option. As a fan of the Wizards, it's kind of interesting. It's just like, granted, I want him. When he's healthy, he's great, but he hasn't been healthy this season, and it showed how much he meant to our team. And so hopefully he can stay healthy. I don't know what this does. The money, as he said, is a business standard. Look at Mike Conley. 5 years, $153 million is just kind of like, whoa. But like Wilson said, if you think this year was crazy money-wise, next year's going to be even worse. So we had to do it. We had to bite the bullet. Right.
And you spoke about how crazy the numbers were this year with free agency numbers. The NBA entered into a new TV deal, $24 billion, right? Which skyrocketed the players' salaries and the salary cap. So, what for you guys was the other biggest surprise of NBA free agency?
Pat Riley's handling of Dwayne Wade's exit in Miami.
Okay.
I think we all knew, we're coming to this stage where, Pat's been talking about heat lifer and loyalty, and we're going to take care of you. We're going to take care of you. But from a business standpoint, he may have made the right decision from a business standpoint and staying younger, because you want to go back into that 2017 free agent class next year. You want to go look at all the youth we have with Hassan Whiteside. We're young. Come be the guy here, you and Hassan, whoever that player might be, if you're pitching that. But the question that's going to come up is, you pitched loyalty to a Hall of Famer. He was never the highest paid player his entire career. Mike Conley just made what he made over 13 years, saved $3 million in one contract. And that ending is going to be something Pat has to talk about, but I just don't think everybody expected that to happen like that.
I think my biggest kind of eye-opener was how Mozgov and Dellavedova got super boosts based after winning the title. Mozgov was on the bench the majority of these finals, and now he's making more than Steph Curry. That was just like, are you serious? And Dellavedova, 4 years, $38 million with the Bucks is just like, okay, can I play in the NBA? Like, hey, remember me? You know, so those were the biggest kind of eye-openers. Just like, wait a minute. But again, it's the new deal, so we just got to kind of get used to it. I still wrap my mind around it, but
we all
I just got to bite the bullet again.
And staying on new deals, I mean, what about the Knicks team? We saw they got Noah, right? And then they got D Rose. What do you guys think this will do for the Knicks organization? And how is Carmelo feeling right now with these new additions?
Well, you had several different reports come out talking about Phil changed his approach because Melo and wanting to try to capitalize on what he has left to go into win now mode. And with Derek, you know, we're talking about the Warriors staying healthy.
Yeah.
The Knicks' health is everything for them because if these guys go back to being hurt, all this was for naught.
Right.
I like the Brandon Jennings move just because just in case Derek goes down, you have a veteran point guard. And even if Derek doesn't go down, that's still a nice piece coming off the bench.
Absolutely.
You still have Chris Stapps, so that's great. And you take some of the pressure off of Melo. Finally, he has like other competent basketball players, but I don't know if maybe you put all this together too late around Melo, and that's the thing you hope that, you know, Knicks fans hope that's not the case.
Right.
I just find it ironic that when Melo was thinking about leaving, he was going to go to Chicago, and he got Derrick Rose to work out for him, and Noah was meeting up with him, and now he didn't have to do anything, and they're a Knicks. So I find that interesting. If Rose can stay healthy, I don't think we'll ever get MVP Rose, but we can get serviceable Rose. With this lineup, they are healthy. They are a playoff team. Now, I'm not saying, oh, they're going to challenge the Cavaliers or the Raptors or the Pacers to like dethrone them, but they're definitely a playoff team.
Not going to put them that high.
Nah, they're not top tier. Nah.
They're better than they were the last 2 years.
They were better than they were last year.
That's a fact.
A lot
that
better.
Is a fact.
And I mean, let's talk about D Rose too. Do you guys think this off-the-court issue with the sexual assault case, will that affect his, you know, standing with the Knicks team or his play this season?
I don't think it's going to affect him on the court. I'm not going to mess with that off the court too much, just because of the nature of it. But I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be happy with the fresh start. And, you know, if he's healthy, maybe the city of Chicago, you know, they lost one son. They gained another with Wade coming home. But I think it'll be great for Derek just to get away from everything and a fresh start.
Again, I agree with you, Wilson. Definitely, I can't really speak too much on it because we don't really know too much yet. But a fresh start in a new city, who's willing to embrace him, a big basketball town, let him start over, let him, you know, figure out what he can do now. So I think he'll be okay.
And speaking of new city, what about Dwight Howard? Do we like his move to the Atlanta Hawks? I mean, will Dwight Howard ever be Superman again that we have previously seen?
I don't think he'll be Superman, but I think the good thing for Dwight is maybe it's a blessing in disguise that he doesn't have to be that guy anymore. Because like the expectations have like really plummeted for what Dwight Howard used to mean. If you got Dwight Howard, because we're not getting that Orlando guy, but for what Atlanta would like to do with Millsap and, you know, the transition they're going through, he could be a nice piece. They have a lot of young, interesting wings, but a lot of it, you know, he spent a lot of his offseason right now working with Chris Matthews on shooting. Hopefully that translates. I know a lot of people are like, well, why didn't you do this early in your career? But if it pays off a little bit, it'll be okay. I mean, he's a good pick and roll guy. It's on Schroeder to use him, but he wasn't really used in that capacity in Houston.
As you were saying about KD going anywhere else, to me it's a lateral move. Granted, the Hawks are going to be a playoff team, but did they really get significantly better that they're a top team in the East? I don't think so. Like, at this point, Howard's not we got this guy. It's not like when he went to LA and it was like, oh, they're going to win the title, and then you saw that blew up in everyone's faces. To me, it's a good move. You know, they'll definitely make the playoffs, but I don't see them going past the second round. All
right, and really quick, give me you guys, which team did the worst do you guys feel in NBA free agency? And why?
I would say my Wizards. And we had so much expectation to get KD. We were talking about it for legit 2 years. He doesn't even meet with us. Horford was saying, I'm going to be a Wizard. And the next day, he's in Boston. It's all the people we wanted. We get billed for the money that a lot of people were scratching their heads over. Like, did we really spend that much money? So I feel like the Wizards are probably the team who did the worst in free agency.
Okay, well
Oklahoma City, you lost Kevin Durant.
It was bad. It was bad. All right, well, stay tuned. We'll come back with a special tribute to Pat Summitt and a very special guest, Michelle Snell.